Pascal. You are now rocking with that dude Pascal. We be going wild, Haitian in the building, so original. Got the haters catching feelings. Get your hands up to the ceiling and keep them held high, cause St. Louis isn't ready. Forget about it, goodbye. Hold up, we just saying hi. Five somebody, rise up. Weekdays, catch us live somebody. Let's go.
Good afternoon. Good evening and good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Pascal Show. Hope you guys all doing well out there. Excuse me. Enjoying your day, making it positive, making it a wonderful one, and all that. We have some updates surrounding Madeline Kingsbury's case, guys. And there's supposed to be a press conference here in just a little bit. But we do have some shocking information here. And, you know, as you guys can see in the thumbnail that I made, there's some hints to some stuff in there in the thumbnail. So, of course, we are going to be walking down the trip, or we're going to be taking a trip down memory lane. That's what I was trying to say, to give you guys kind of like a breakdown of what's gone down. There is supposed to be a press conference here soon. I'm actually still, I'm still trying to find where this press conference is actually going to go down on, what platform and all that, because I've been searching everywhere. People have been sending me updates and emails and DMs saying, yo, there's going to be a press conference. We will see all about that if it actually goes down. But there has been some really shocking pieces of information out here that, of course, I want to share with you guys that I'm sorry, this is just shocking to me. But at the same time, it still makes me wonder why it took so long to get this mother lover behind bars. Just in my personal opinion. But at the same time, I get it. They needed to have more proof, more evidence, etc., to get this man. So we're going to be getting into this. We got some things to talk about. All right. So do me a favor. Before we get into everything, please hit that like button down below. Do me that favor. Hit that like button down below. Crush it. Make it scream out your doggone name. And of course, if you haven't done it yet, hit that subscribe button. All right. Hit it, crush it, make it scream out your name as well. Okay, make a whole lot of noise by hitting that like button and hitting that subscribe button as well. Okay, guys? And of course, if you want to, please, of course, I am working diligently to build my Patreon. So please go follow me, join my Patreon, patreon.com/The Pascal Show. That would really, really mean a lot as well. Okay, do it. Okay, do it. All right. Or just like everybody else has been doing as of late, if you want to hit that join button down below and become a member here and support on the YouTube channel, you are more than welcome to as well. But I am trying to build my family over on Patreon as well, just in case they just decide to turn the lights off. Because sometimes they tend to do that out of nowhere. Okay? Just saying that out loud. Okay? But anyway, let's get into these things. We got stories to tell. Okay? And many miles to go before we actually sleep. Okay? Now, as we know, yesterday, we talked about this huge piece. One second. I'm sorry, guys. We talked about a huge piece of information. Not only did we see a press conference confirming that the mother of two, Madeline Kingsbury's body was found on the side of a highway in a wooded area. Okay, she was just discarded. But now there are more. Well, before I say that, the ex-partner, father of the children, the father of the two kids, all right, has now been arrested as well. And he is catching a charge for second-degree M. But it's very interesting. There's some more information here that I need to share with you guys that I find very, very odd, very, very shocking as well, which we are going to look at. Again, I am refreshing as many pages as I can to see if there is going to be an actual press conference. Allegedly, they're saying that there will be one in about a half hour from now. So we will be talking about this at great lengths and talking about this whole thing. So we got a little bit of time before we go into the actual press conference. So as we know, let me just get this stuff up here. So just a quick recap, okay? And it looks like Trump's in some serious trouble now too, just so you guys know. Interesting information about Trump, just so you guys know. That's something that's popping off right now as we speak. But let me share with you guys what we know thus far in this particular case. We're not here to talk about that info, but it is info nonetheless. So let's take a look at it, guys. Right? So it says Minnesota police confirm human remains belong to missing mother day after father's arrest. Okay. Now we saw the press conference yesterday, last night. Okay. It was a late night stream where we were talking about all this information. We saw the information being told that the remains that were found on the side of the road were indeed the remains of Madeline Kingsbury. And now, the boyfriend, the father of the children, his name, Adam Fravel or Fravel. I've heard two different ones. I call him Fraggle Rock. All right. He has been arrested and he's looking at a charge of second degree M. Okay. Now, let's get into a little bit of this. Okay. Human remains found in southeastern Minnesota this week are of Madeline Kingsbury, a mother who was last seen alive on March 31st. And remember the whole timeline of how she went missing and all of that. The fact that the boyfriend, the ex-partner, let's just say that, okay? The ex-partner was the last to see her. He was driving her car. He drove around for several hours on multiple highways, then came back home and said, oh, where did she go? Right? Pretty wild stuff, okay? And if you have the affidavit, I was just about to start looking for the affidavit as well. But if you have it, please send it my way. That'd be great as well. We can go through that before this new press conference that they're having here in just a little bit. And like I said, there's a lot more to this. There's more information. He said something about Gabby Petito. Like, real talk. When you say something about Gabby Petito and your girl is and your loved one is missing, you suspect as hell. I'm looking at you with a very suspicious eye. I don't care. Okay? Soon as you start saying something like that, that's a red flag. But we're going to get into that in just a little bit. Promise you that. Because we got time before this press conference, which will be coming up very, very soon. Okay? So, unfortunately, they said, while this discovery is not what we were hoping for, we are thankful to be able to bring Maddie home to her family. This is what the Winona Police Department has said in yesterday's news conference. Some attendees could be heard crying. Yeah, and that was pretty bad. It was pretty heart-wrenching when they did finally identify. It did really hurt to see them actually identify her. You know, they did in fact say, yes, this is indeed her. It was very, very heartbreaking to see that to hear that information. Real talk. Okay. Now let's continue. Okay. So on Wednesday, the WPD arrested the father of Kingsbury's two children, 29-year-old Fraggle Rock, on probable cause after a law enforcement officer found human remains using information generated during the Madeline Kingsbury investigation. Okay. Now they said he was arrested without any incident, which is he didn't try to run, he didn't try to hop a fence, he didn't try to go, I ain't going, you gonna have to take me in a box. He didn't do nothing like that. Okay, no guns blazing or anything crazy like that. Okay, all right. Hold on. Yes, thank you, Avery. Yes, from my understanding, the press conference is going to be happening in less than 20, like in basically 27 minutes. So thank you so much for that update. Okay, but I think yes, I appreciate you confirming it for us. Okay, so they said it went on without a hitch. They arrested him, they took him in, and it is done. What is done? Okay, so done. What's done is done. So they did not announce charges against Fraggle Rock. Okay. But records from Winona County Detention show he is being detained on a second-degree M charge. Now, this part, remember this piece, and we talked about this yesterday, how he's catching a second-degree M charge. But now I'm hearing something different, and it's very, very weird, and I'll explain here in just a minute, okay, after we get through this article. Authorities declined to comment further on the charge at a Thursday news conference. Yeah, they were pretty much holding everything close to the vest, as they like to say all the time. This 26-year-old's remains were found Wednesday afternoon in some brush off of Highway 43 in neighboring Fillmore County. Police said her body was discovered off a low-maintenance public roadway and not on property owned by Fraggle Rock or his relatives, Williams said on Thursday. In the last 69 days, have been frustrating, full of heartache and pain for the family, law enforcement, and the community. So we already know she didn't show up to work on March 31st after she dropped off her kids at daycare that afternoon. Okay, so she didn't, or she didn't show up to pick up her kids at daycare that afternoon. She went missing between the times of 10 a.m. and 1:30 p.m. on March 31st. According, let me just say that too, according to Fraggle Rock, according to the ex-partner. Okay? So, of course, he obviously, as the time had gone on, he was denying any involvement in the Kingsbury disappearance. Okay. Now, the kids were taken into custody because the father did not have custodial rights over the children, which obviously is a huge, huge piece of information that I think is kind of important. Wouldn't you think? It's a big piece of information, I think. Okay. Okay. It's a big piece of information, I'd like to think. Okay. Fairly big piece of information where the mother of your children is not allowing you to have custodial rights custody over your own children. To me, that's a red flag. Huge red flag. Okay. Now, the thing is obviously there's more to this. There's more that's going on here. So I want to share a few things that I found to be very interesting. Okay. And we're going one bit at a time because let's be real. I like to tell these stories. And we got time to kill. Okay. So one thing that I found to be fairly interesting is that not only is he getting one charge of second-degree M, he's actually catching two, guys. Two counts of M. I'm confused. But then again, like I said, I'm just a guy telling you guys stories. All right? telling you guys the news, telling you guys stories, and having a discussion with you about this. I find it very weird that he's catching two charges. It says a criminal complaint details electronic and physical evidence prosecutors will use as they try to convict Fraggle Rock on 2 counts of M. Oh, gosh. Now I feel like an idiot. I just saw some Tampster just said, pregnant. Could she have been? Well, that's the question I'd like to know now, too. Now, I'd like to know that, too. Much Endeavors just said, was she pregnant? Any reports of that? So far, I haven't seen anything of that sort yet. But there is going to be another press conference here in about 20 minutes. Wouldn't be surprised if there's some information there. Avery, thank you so much for the 5. I will keep a lookout for the email. In fact, I will look for it right now just to see if there's anything. Yes, I've got it, love. Thank you. I appreciate it. I'll look into it in a second, okay, guys? Into the affidavit. But let's get into the article, shall we? Let's do it. Okay? So a criminal complaint filed in Winona County Wednesday details the evidence prosecutors will lean on to try to prove their case against Fraggle Rock, who is now charged with 2 counts of second-degree M in the demise of his ex-partner, Maddie Kingsbury. So, Fraggle, okay, made his first appearance in Winona County Court on the charges Friday morning. Bail, which he shouldn't be getting any bail, y'all. That's just my personal opinion. He shouldn't be getting no doggone bail, but bail was set at $1 million with conditions, which include attending all future court appearances, staying alcohol and chemical free, and not contacting Maddie's family. Okay, sure. I say no bail, leave him up here, leave him locked up, man. That's what I say. But anyway, I digress. Court documents say, now this is where it gets tough. I'm going to give you guys a fair warning because we're going to be rolling through this conversation here, this piece of information. Some of this stuff is very graphic and not great to talk about. So fair warning, okay? Because I love you. I love you. Always have. Just making sure you guys know. Full on heads up before we waltz down this alley, okay? So court documents say Maddie, who shared 2 children with Fraggle, was found in a remote wooded area just north of the town of Mabel, wrapped in what appeared to be a gray-colored fitted bed sheet and closed off with black Gorilla tape. An autopsy said a knotted towel was wrapped around her neck and head. In the complaint, prosecutors say that a roll of Gorilla tape of the same color and width was observed in the Kingsbury Fraggle residence during a search. The complaint also notes that an air mattress from the residence had pillows with gray cases, but no matching fitted sheet. Witnesses told investigators about multiple incidents where Fraggle was allegedly physical with Maddie. One family member told authorities she learned Fraggle had placed his hands around her neck. The person went to see Maddie and says she and another person saw a red mark on the side of her neck that very day. So he already had a history. Let me just say that again. He had a history of just being a jerk off. He already was a piece of work. Already had a history of this. I'm gonna continue, but you know what really, You know what really grinds my gears, what really burns my cookies is that we have so many people that are finding themselves in these types of situations, and they seem to be trapped every single time. And and of course, a part of me feels some type of way, but I'm also, as much as I can, trying to be a caring and understanding human being, because I understand how the world is and how messed up the world can be, and how some people feel like they can't talk, or they feel like they're trapped, they feel like they're alone and all that. And we're seeing that there were friends that saw these things go down. There's more information here too that shows proof positive that this man was a monster, that he put his hands on her multiple other times where other people saw it. And she's not here anymore. It's ridiculous, guys. So I'm just putting this up here right now. I'm putting that up here right now. That hotline right there. Anybody who's watching this that's surviving, going through it, etc., you are not alone. Please call that number. Period. And I say this with all the love in my heart. I hate talking about these things. I hate it. But you know for a fact I'm saying that from a place of good, from a good place. Because I'd rather talk about, like, you know what I'm saying? Not this. It's frustrating. Please use this phone number. I will put it back up in a little bit again, but dag nabbit. Please, please, please use that phone number. You are not alone, and there's always someone there to listen. I promise you that. But let's continue. Let's continue. A friend of Maddie's told investigators about a video call with her back in 2020 or 2021, where Maddie was cooking and holding on to one of her children. The friend says Fraggle Rock, not knowing that Maddie was on the phone, entered the room, yelled at her to keep quiet. Maddie allegedly told him to calm down, at which Fraggle Rock allegedly struck her in the face. The witness says he learned the incident was captured on a live call when she screamed at him over the phone. The friend told investigators that she noticed bruises on Maddie during several video calls, and said when she asked about them, Maddie would cover them up with her sweater. Just saying, let that sink in, y'all. Let that sink in. Son of a gun. As part of their investigation, police accessed iPhones owned by Maddie and collected texts and conversations between her and Fravel. In one, Kingsbury says she is not really okay with or over the fact you put your hand around my neck and pushed me down in front of the kids earlier, so don't. A text response allegedly from Fravel says, "You'll adjust." Really? You'll adjust. The complaint also details, going back, son of a gun, lock him up. I'm just saying, lock him up. The complaint also details what the defendant told investigators during questioning about his and Maddie's relationship, how it was not working, and that she had recently been seeing someone else. Video evidence gathered by detectives shows a person thought to be Fravel switching the license plates on Maddie's van before pulling out of the driveway on the day of her disappearance. And you still didn't bring him in and arrest this guy's ass? What? So you see footage of him going like this with a screwdriver, changing the plates so he can pull out of the driveway and do a whole bunch of bad. And you still, okay. This took 69 days? Come on, man. Come on, man. All right. The what? Okay. All right, then. Because that's information no one ever even said. All right. But he did this in broad daylight, y'all. It was seen in footage. Him doing this on his knees, crouching down, probably, as he's getting down and unscrewing the license plates and putting in a different license plate on and then pulling out of the driveway. You're telling me that wasn't sus as hell? Interesting. Investigators say the plates put on the vehicle were the ones from the car Fravel usually drives. Prosecutors say Maddie's van was spotted driving south on Highway 43 towards Mabel and the location where Maddie was found, and then driving back north to the residence. If found guilty, Fravel faces a potential 40-year sentence on each of the 2 M counts. Now, I'm still wanting to know, why is it 2 counts? Could it very well mean that maybe she was with child at the time? Could it mean that? I'm just asking for a friend, because I'd like to know here too, y'all. It doesn't make sense. 2. She must have been with child, if that's the case. Regardless, though, still tragic as hell. And of course, within 10 minutes, we're going to be hearing some information about that for show. But still, very, very messed up. Very messed up. Moving on, here's the thing that really just, I'm like, the what? M charges, Fravel threatened Kingsbury, would end up like Gabby Petito. I don't know about you guys, but last I checked, anybody says anything like that, him guilty. Period. You should be looking at them hard, not just all willy-nilly. And let me just say this too really quick. This is not a dig at 5-0. All right. I'm not sitting here saying, 5-0 didn't do nothing. They just dragged their feet. I'm just saying it just seems odd to me, or it's wild to me, that it was 69 days of nonstop. And I understand searching, trying to find this young woman, all that stuff. I get all that part. But he was kind of waving these red flags. You know what I mean? Like it's part of the flag team, flipping them up in the air and, doing cartwheels. Red flag city, guys. And yet he still was out here having the audacity to show up to court to try to get full custody of his children after he had done this thing. Instead of utilizing this time to go out in those fields, if he was innocent, right? He could have utilized that time to be out there in those fields looking for this mother of 2. But he didn't do that. He was too busy saying, I want custody of my kids. I want my kids. But the mother of your kids is still out there somewhere. And instead of you going in interviews, going on media, podcasts, etc., saying, hey, I need everybody's help. Instead of even saying, F it, I'm not even going to do the news. I'm just going to put my tuchus out in the grassy fields. get bit up by mosquitoes and ticks trying to find the mother of my children. He didn't do not one damn thing. So then I look at that and I go, why did it take 69 days to get him in behind some iron bars? That's the question I ask, because it makes no sense. But this part here, though, too, would end up like Gabby Petito, and you're telling me that's not sus? Okay, let's get into this. All right. So they say the Winona County Attorney's Office charged Fravel, okay, this morning with 2 counts of second-degree M in the demise of Madeline Kingsbury. She was 26 years old. I forgot to tell you guys that. I keep forgetting how young she was. 26 years old, and she had 2 children. Prosecutors claimed that Fraggle Rock threatened Kingsbury in the past, allegedly saying she, quote unquote, would end up like Gabby Petito. And we already know about what happened to Gabby. Fravel reportedly admitted to Winona Police Department investigators making such a statement, but said it was a joke. You tell me, when it comes to anything to talking to your loved one, do you talk in a joking manner about them ending up like a infamously known tragic story like Gabby Petito? Do you? I'm just saying, hey, you keep doing it, you're going to end up like Gabby Petito. Do you do that? I'm sorry, do you? Last I checked, you don't do that. That's not joking. That's not funny. Where's the joke in that? Oh, and let's not forget, he already had a history of violence with her too. He was already putting his paws on her, and friends had seen these things happen. And the fact that he had no care in the world, aside from that one time that he got caught on a video call, putting his paws on her. He has done this before in front of people, not giving 2 damns. Even when she did turn to him and say, hey, I need you to stop doing this in front of the kids. I need you to stop doing this, period. His response was, and I quote, "You'll adjust." Kind of makes sense on reasons why she was trying to kick his ass out. Don't you think? Let's continue, shall we? Prosecutors, where did it go? Prosecutors laid out evidence alleging a history of DV in Fravel and Kingsbury's on and off again relationship of 7 years. The criminal complaint states that the two were in the process of separating and moving out of their house in Winona on March 31st, and that Fravel reportedly told investigators he had recently learned Kingsbury had started seeing another man. While on a video call with Kingsbury, we already know about this, he was yelling at her, he hit her in the face, and on several occasions, the friends noticed bruises on Kingsbury's face, according to prosecutors. Another time, family member told investigators they had heard Fravel put his hands around Kingsbury's neck. We already know about all this here too. We already know about all this too. Now, what's interesting, because of course, in about 3 minutes, okay? In about 3 minutes, they are about to have another press conference. What could that press conference be? Now we're hearing that there are 2 counts of second-degree M that Fravel is actually facing right now. What could that possibly mean? Could it mean that she was pregnant by the other man that she was seeing. He found out, again, speculation warning. He found out, he got in his feelings, got into a violent rage, and just took her life, knowing she was of child at the time? Or could the second charge of second degree M be something else? The only thing that I can think of is that, unless there was another person that was found next to her in that wooded area off the side of the highway, right? Because he would only be catching one charge if there was only one body, right? Now, again, I'm just a regular guy. I'm just a regular good old-fashioned dude just telling the stories here, y'all. But I still wonder, what could that possibly mean? And the fact that, and it's really interesting, given the fact that they were able to get find the body, and once they found the body, and then they were able to track everything back from the fitted gray bed sheet and the black gorilla tape that was found wrapped around this package, I guess, that he tried to make with her remains in it. It's pretty incredible that they were able to do reverse math and figure that all out as well. But again, I am very curious as to, hold on, as to what is going to go down here. And again, they haven't started anything yet that I know of. It's supposed to be starting in less than 1 minute from now. But again, this dude, this piece of work clearly had the audacity to say things like this, to treat the mother of his children in such a way that even her friends were concerned. Her friends were worried and scared for her life. Listen. My heart breaks for this family. And again, you got to remember, I said this before, but now you got two little kids that have no parents. And then also the other question is, if she had moved on quicker, if she ran away sooner, if she split ways with this man faster, would you change? Or would it be the same? I don't know. And in no way am I trying to, let's just say,
good afternoon, everybody.
victim
Thank you
blame
so much for being here
or
today.
be on
I'm
the
Bonnie
side of
Bowman.
anything.
I'm a public information officer with the Minnesota
Okay.
Bureau of Criminal Apprehension. We continue to assist in investigating this case. Today, you will hear from Winona County Attorney Karen
There we go.
Sonneman. She will offer some prepared remarks, and then
Here we
we
are.
will have time for questions at the end.
Let's take a listen.
But as always, I do need to offer the caveat that this is an ongoing and active investigation. The prosecution is also just beginning, so there are some things we will not be able to discuss today.
Of course.
And we do ask that you respect and understand that as we get into the question portion of today's news conference. In the meantime, I'd like to invite up the county attorney.
Good afternoon. I'm Winona County Attorney Karen Sonneman, and I'm here today to announce my office filed charges against Adam Taylor Fryville for the murder of Madeline Kingsbury. Behind me is the team from my office and some law enforcement. but the team from my office that I have assembled to prosecute this case. This includes Special Assistant Winona County Attorney Phil Prokopowicz, who I have hired to lead our prosecution team. Mr. Prokopowicz is retired from the Dakota County Attorney's Office, where he served many, many years as the Chief Deputy in the Criminal Division. My team and I are committed to seeking justice for Maddie and her family. We have charged Mr. Fravel with second-degree intentional murder and second-degree unintentional murder. Some of you may be wondering why my office did not charge first-degree murder against Mr. Fravel at this time. Let me explain the law in Minnesota. In order to charge first-degree murder, a prosecutor must present the case before a grand jury, and the grand jury decides whether there is probable cause to support an indictment for first-degree murder. Because this case remains an active and ongoing law enforcement investigation, we may seek additional charges in the future. At this time, it's my understanding that Mr. Fravel remains in custody. The judge this morning set his bail at $2 million unconditional and $1 million conditional. His next court appearance is scheduled for July 20th, 2023 at 1:45 p.m. We know many of you are concerned for the well-being of Maddie's two children. They remain in Maddie's father's care and will stay there for the time being. The child protection case that my office is also handling remains open and active. A determination in that CHIPS or child protection matter will be made at a later date. We have heard from so many individuals how wonderful a person Maddie was. She had a bright future, and Mr. Fravel took that from her. By charging him today with her murder, we intend to hold him accountable to the fullest extent of the law. Thank you.
That ends the prepared statements. We're ready to take some questions again with that caveat that there are some things we just won't be able to share. So if you have a question, feel free to shout it out.
And Ms. Sonneman, how do you think Maddie was killed?
At this time, I can only say that the investigation is ongoing and active, so I'm not going to make any comment about that at this time.
If Mr. Fravel does bail out, will he be able to see his children? Can you explain kind of how these two things will work together?
Yes, a good question. There's also a family court custody case going on as well, which is, so there's really three proceedings. But in the child protection case, there were certain conditions in that case also where Mr. Fravel could have supervised and secure visitation with his children, meaning in a secure site, under observation, basically. If he bails out, the court allowed him to continue to have that supervision under those conditions that were in the child protection case. So that.
I plan on asking that to be revoked, though.
There is a later hearing in the child protection case, and I can't comment at this time on that, but all options are open.
Can you explain why there are two separate second-degree murder charges? What is the difference, and what are the
There are two charges because one is called intentional murder and the other is unintentional murder. At this time, as I explained, we can't charge first-degree murder, but we can charge those two, and based on the evidence that we felt we could prove with certainty from our perspective beyond a reasonable doubt, those are the most serious charges we can charge now. The difference between those is that the individual's conduct would be intentional to cause the death of a person. The other is that their actions unintentionally cause the death of the person.
What?
Can you go into detail about the difference between intentional and unintentional?
Well, I would refer you to the Minnesota statutes, but it's basically just that a person had the intent to cause the death of another individual and took such actions that were intentional, and the result was that person was killed.
So
Unintentional is just as it really states, that actions were taken and that person
oopsie
didn't really
daisy.
mean to have that, whatever the actions they did.
The
They didn't
what?
really want it to result in a death, but it did.
Come on, man. Come on, man.
During the Zoom hearing, you're told the judge
Bull.
about mocking officers, making flippant comments. Could you shed a little bit more light on some of those interactions?
I won't go into great detail, but what he was referring to was when the as part of the child protection proceeding, the children were he had the children, and as you can, if you've read the complaint, and please read the complaint because it's very detailed, it'll answer a lot of your questions. But as we put,
we
in
will
the
get
complaint,
to it.
He went and took the children from the daycare and brought them to his parents' house. So at the time the child protection case was initiated, the children were with him in his parents' house in Mabel, Minnesota. And so part of the child protection case was that Winona County was taking custody of those children. And so social workers and law enforcement went to secure the children, and that's where some of those behaviors were exhibited by Mr. Frabel. Just a second. She's go ahead. You're
Sure. In the
yeah.
press conference yesterday, you mentioned digital evidence that helped you locate Maddie's body. Is that the video footage that was outlined in the complaint, or was this something different? And so can you describe a little more?
Well, and I think I didn't say that, Chief Williams.
Sure, sorry. I see him standing.
Yeah, but at this time, again, I can only say that this is an ongoing and active law enforcement investigation, and we have just started our prosecution. So
There are instances in the
Interesting.
complaint that refer to this. Was Maddie controlled and abused during their relationship by Adam Frabel?
Again, our case is ongoing as far as law enforcement investigation, and what's in the complaint is what's in the complaint. And again, this is just the beginning of this case, and there's more investigation to do. But there may be additional charges, but again, first-degree murder can only be obtained through a grand jury proceeding.
Well, what happens after July 20th?
It depends on what happens on July 20th. So, okay, so.
Any time for a couple more?
You can share.
In the complaint, it mentions that someone met Frabel's description was pencil license plates on Madeline's van. Can you confirm this was him? And was he switching? What was he type of license plate?
As the complaint indicates, we stated it was an individual that was observed changing license plates, and those are the type of issues that we would want to identify if this case goes to trial.
As premeditation.
The spot where the body was eventually found, or did he go to the farm first? There's an unaccounted for 45 minutes, it says.
Again, our case and law enforcement is an ongoing investigation. It's still active, and those are issues that I can't comment on now.
Did additional charges come out of Fillmore County in terms of possibly moving the body, sealing it?
I'm sorry, what?
Additional charges in Fillmore County?
Again, this is an ongoing investigation. I'm sorry I keep having to say that, but I don't want to compromise the integrity of either the law enforcement investigation or our prosecution case.
And that is all we have time for today. Thank you so much.
Thank
I
you.
do want to clarify, though, Lou, to your question, it's in the charging document, but the medical examiner's office did rule that the manner of death was homicidal violence. So it is in the charging documents. If you have read those, if you haven't, I highly suggest that you do. It adds a lot of context as to why these charges were presented and some more context to the case as well. And just for myself on a personal note, I want to thank you all for being out here. I know for many of you, it's a decent drive to get out here to Winona, and we really appreciate your continued coverage of this case. It has made a really big difference in keeping up the confidence and the spirits of the community as we continue to work through what is a really difficult case and prosecution and ongoing investigation, as we've said. So thank you again so much all for being here.
Thank you all.
Well, I'm forever changed. So that was that. Uh yeah. So that was that. That was that, guys. That was horse manure. Yeah, we're gonna look at some of this because you're telling me that it was it was unintentional. What? Like how is he getting? How is this guy getting like the leeway on a I guess for lack of a better word, a technicality? Like the hell? All right. Thank you to whoever sent me these. We're going to be looking at these together because, and I feel like, one of the things we need to look at mainly is this right here. This main one right here. I think this is the one that matters the most right here, love. Let's take a look at this, shall we? What the fuck? Okay. All right. So these are the charges. Okay. So let me share this with you guys so we can look at this together as a family. All right. So it says here, okay, the complaint submits this complaint to the court and states that there is probable cause to believe defendant committed the following offenses. Count 1, okay, M in the second degree. All right. Now, they say charge description that on or about the March 31st in Winona County, Adam Taylor Fravel caused the demise of a human being with intent to affect the demise of that person or another, but without premeditation. So they're basically trying to say that this was they're trying to say that this was just a crime of passion, and that this man is getting second degree M because he was just really angry when he did it. Yeah. They're saying that this has no premeditation. Hold on. We're going to get into the part where I think that there is premeditation. Okay? I mean, there's got to be. But let's continue. The second one, okay? This is the other one. Same thing, charge in M in the second degree. Okay, and both of them, he's looking at 40 years in prison on both separate counts. Okay, but I mean, let's be real. When he is found guilty, even if it is on second degree, he's going to be spending the rest of his natural life behind bars. Pretty much. Okay, he gone, in my personal opinion. But let's continue. It says that on or about March 31st, okay, so on and so forth, okay, took the demise of a human being without intent to affect the demise of any person while committing or attempting to commit a felony offense other than criminal conduct in the first or second degree with force or violence or drive-by shooting. Okay? So that is part of them, or that's one of the pieces of paperwork that we have seen. Now, hold on, because there's a couple different things and it just seems a bit odd. So I just need to make sure. Because it's kind of the screenshots that I received seem a bit all over the place. But let me just make sure. See, for me, the one thing that just really angers me more than anything in the world. Sorry, it is a bit 1 5. Where is 2? There we go. So let's take a look at this one here too. All right, let's take a look. So of course, approximately on March 31st, approximately 8:20 p.m. The police were contacted by a person who identified themselves as a friend of Madeline. Okay, so the friend reported reported to the police that she was concerned with the health and safety of Madeline. According to the friend, Madeline had not attempted to contact or communicate with her throughout the day, which the friend indicated was unusual. The friend was concerned and had gone to Madeline's residence, saw her minivan in the driveway, knocked on the door, and no one responded. The friend also told police that she was aware that Madeline was having issues with her significant other, who also lived at the residence. The friend identified the significant other as Fraggle Rock. Winona police officers met the friend at Madeline's residence located in Winona. An officer knocked on the door of the residence and looked in the windows. No one responded, and the officer did not see anyone inside. Shortly after, officers spoke with Madeline's father on the phone and learned that her family had also not had contact with her that day. The father reported that it was uncharacteristic for Maddie not to have contact with family members or friends. A Winona police officer spoke with Fraggle Rock by phone. According to Fraggle Rock, he had not heard from Madeline since early that morning. I mean, it's just, oh my Lord, that she was supposed to pick up the children at their daycare after she was finished working, but did not. Fraggle stated he picked up the children at daycare and took them to his parents' residence in Mayville, Minnesota. Later that evening, officers were able to conduct a welfare check inside the Winona residence and determined that no one was inside the residence. The law enforcement investigators have spoken with the children's daycare provider, who confirmed that both Madeline and Fraggle were present when they dropped their children off at daycare that morning of March 31st at approximately 8:05 a.m. The daycare provider was also stated that Fraggle Rock was alone when he picked up the children at the end of the day. On April 1st, law enforcement investigators obtained a search warrant for Madeline and Fraggle's residence in Winona. The interior of the residence was cluttered, but there did not appear to be overt signs of a struggle. During the search, law enforcement officers located what investigators later determined to be Madeline's cell phone, jacket, and purse in the residence. Like I said, she left everything behind, y'all. Everything. And that still wasn't suspect. Not to look at him as a suspect. I'm just saying, y'all. All right. Investigators also located a laptop computer that investigators later determined Maddie used to work from home. The investigators later obtained access to the cell phone databases. It was determined that a text message was sent from the cell phone to Madeline's sister on March 31st at 8:15 a.m. Investigators noted that there were no subsequent text messages or phone calls sent from her cell phone. Okay. Law enforcement investigators had follow-up conversations with Fraggle Rock on April Fool's Day and on the 2nd of April. During these conversations, Fraggle told investigators that he had met Madeline at college in Winona and that they had an on and off again relationship for the past 7 years. Fraggle stated that they have two children, ages 5 and 2. Fravel indicated that Madeline worked from home and in Rochester, Minnesota. Fravel stated Madeline would generally travel to Rochester for work on Mondays and Fridays. Fraggle Rock acknowledged that Maddie was the primary income producer for the family. And she would forward him money electronically to pay the family bills. Interesting. Fravel acknowledged. That's an interesting piece of information, guys. I'm sorry. That says something there too. Fravel acknowledged that recently their relationship was not working, so they decided to separate and were in the process of moving out of their Winona residence. Madeline had been looking at different apartments in the area for her and the children to live in. Fravel indicated that about 2 weeks ago, Madeline had told him that she had begun a relationship with another man, but that he did not know how long the relationship had been going on. Fravel stated that on Friday, March 31st, together he and Madeline dropped off the children at daycare around 8 a.m. and they drove home. Once they arrived, Madeline stated that she had an online meeting and afterwards she was going to Rochester for work. He indicated he observed Madeline go downstairs to her home office. That is part 1 of this page, by the way, guys. Part 1 of the page. Let's continue because there's more. Trust and believe there's more. But the way I got it, it's kind of spattered all over the place. So bear with me, guys. Come on. There we go. There we are. So, page 3. And I'm sorry, but it's very interesting that she was the sole breadwinner. And I could see that being that could cause a rift between boyfriend, girlfriend, partners, etc. If he was in between jobs or if he was perpetually always in between jobs, I mean, it could cause quite a rift. But let's continue. Also during these conversations, Fravel stated he had planned to do property storage runs most of the day. His plan was to travel to his parents' home near Mabel, Minnesota, with items he wanted to store at his parents' residence and return to Winona and take items to Midwest stores located in Winona. Fravel indicated that prior to leaving for Mabel, he had stopped at a gas station near his Winona residence. He said that when he loaded up Madeline's van, he wasn't really paying attention to what he was loading. Fravel believed he left his residence and began driving the van to Mabel at approximately 10:15 a.m. Now, let me repeat that one part again. He said that when he was loading up Madeline's van, he wasn't paying attention to what he was loading. Well, what's that oblong grayish package that you're putting into the back of into the side or into the back of the van? Oh, I don't know. I was just moving a lot of stuff in and out because I was trying to put these things in the storage because we're moving. We're in the middle of moving out and stuff. Right. Let's move on though. Fravel continued with the following information. Fravel stated that when he got to Choice, an area in Fillmore County, he started thinking about what he was going to do. He said he looked to the rear in the van and realized the items that he had were meant to be stored in a storage unit, not his parents' place. He turned around in the driveway of a barn in Choice and drove back to his residence in Winona. Fravel believed he arrived at the residence at around 11:30 a.m. and emptied the van at the residence, at their old, soon-to-be old place. Fravel stated that he didn't make any stops on the trip to and from Choice. When he had entered the residence, he did not see Madeline. He stated he did notice his car was still home and thought that Madeline may have carpooled to Rochester. Fravel stated he remained at the residence for the remainder of the afternoon. During this time, he texts Madeline, but he never got a response. Eventually, he went downstairs and Madeline was not there. He stated that he texted Madeline regarding picking up the kids and asked about plans for supper. When she did not respond, he decided to pick up the children at daycare and drive them to his parents' residence in Maybell. During their conversations with Fravel, law enforcement disclosed that Fraggle Rock, a concerned person's report, that Fravel and told Madeline that if she did not listen up, that she would end up like Gabby Petito. So law enforcement disclosed to Fravel a concerned person's report that Fravel told Madeline that if she did not listen up, that she would end up like Gabby Petito. Fravel admitted being infatuated with the Gabby Petito case. Fravel also admitted that he made a statement to Madeline about her ending up like Gabby Petito. Fravel claimed he was trying to make a joke. That's not a joke. Okay. The Gabby Petito case was made national news. It was the story of a 22-year-old who went missing after extensive searches. Petito's remains were found in a park in Wyoming. It was reported Petito passed because of we already know this stuff. The media also reported that the fiance claimed responsibility for her demise in a notebook. We already know all that stuff. Investigating officers spoke with a friend of Maddie who indicated that sometime in 2020 or 2021, she was on a video call with Madeline, who was at her Winona residence. Madeline was standing up, holding one of her children and cooking dinner. The friend observed Fravel enter the room, yell at Madeline to keep quiet. Madeline asked Fravel to calm down, and he stated he was not going to calm down and struck Madeline in the face with his hand. It appeared that Fravel was not aware he was being observed on the video call, as when the friend yelled at Fravel over the video call, he immediately left the room. The friend told investigators that there were several times during video calls that she observed bruises on Madeline's face. When the friend inquired about the bruises, Madeline would cover them with her sweater. Investigators spoke with a family member of Madeline's. During the conversation, the family member discussed an earlier incident. The family member said she learned Fravel put his hands around Madeline's throat. The family member went with another person to go get Madeline. The family member noted Madeline had a red mark on the side of her cheek, the side of her neck that day. Pursuant to search warrants, investigating officers conducted forensic extractions on 2 Apple iPhones believed to belong to Madeline. In review of the forensic extractions of those 2 phones revealed Kingsbury was as the owner and user. There were messages as well as screenshots of messages between Madeline and Fravel dating back numerous years. One screenshot taken on September 21st, 2021 contained the following iMessage conversation between Madeline and Fravel. And this is what they were saying. Maddie said this: I'm not really okay with or over the fact that you put your hand around my neck and push me down in front of the kids either, so don't. Let's continue. So don't. So don't, she said. So he continued, or she continues. Not okay with that at all, but especially with them there. Fravel said, you'll adjust. Maddie said, the F I will. Maddie also said, you do that again without asking me, and you can go somewhere else. Fravel said, you got it, mother. Wow. Maddie said, don't patronize me. That crossed the line. Fravel said, then mind. Maddie said, stop. Law enforcement investigators were able to obtain videos from security cameras and motion detection video devices at multiple residences and businesses located in Winona, in the Winona neighborhood where Madeline Kingsbury and Fravel resided, and along the route Fravel stated he took towards his parents' residence in the morning of March 31st, 2023. The videos reveal the following events from March 31st. This ought to be good. 9:44 a.m. Madeline's van is observed in the driveway of the residence in Winona. A person in a light-colored coat is observed walking up to the front of the van, bends over, and appears to remove the front license plate of the van. Like I said earlier, and just trying to unscrew the license plate. But he had no intent of, this was an accident, right? No intent. This was unintentional, right? 9:47 a.m., 3 minutes later, the van is still in the driveway. And the same person is observed kneeling in front of the van and appears to be reinstalling a license plate. So it took him 3 whole minutes to unscrew a license plate. Okay, he's a special one. 9:55 a.m., continuing on. A person wearing a light-colored coat or sweatshirt goes into Madeline's van while it is parked in the driveway of the residence in Winona. Now, 10 a.m., the van is no longer at the residence. So 5 minutes later, gone. 2:02 a.m., the van is observed parked at a gas station where Fravel said he had gotten gas, and a person wearing a light-colored jacket and matching the description of Fravel is observed pumping gas. Investigators also noted that the license plate on the van matches the license plate registered to the car Fravel normally drives and not the plate registered to the van. Investigating officers noted that they observed the van later in the evening on March 31st and on April 1st. The license plate registered to the van was back on the van. So clearly he knew what he was doing. Okay. 10:31 a.m. The van is observed backed into the driveway of their residence in Winona. 11:26 a.m. The van is observed driving away from the residence. 11:44 a.m. A van matching the description of Madeline's van is observed traveling southbound on Highway 43 in the direction of Rushford and Mabel, Minnesota. 11:56. A van matching the description of the van is observed traveling southbound on Highway 43 in the direction of Mabel. 11:59. Same situation is observed traveling southbound on Highway 43 and in the direction of Choice and Mabel, Minnesota. Approximately 45 minutes later, a van matching the description of Madeline's van is observed on a video from the same location traveling northbound on Highway 43 in the direction of Rushford, Winona. What do you think actually happened within those last 45 minutes? I'll let you guys fill in the blank. A van matching the description of Madeline's van is observed traveling northbound on Highway 43 in Rushford. Okay. 1 p.m. A van matching the description of Madeline's van is observed traveling northbound on Highway 43 and turned east onto Winona County Road 12 in the direction of Winona. At 1:28 p.m., a van matching the description of Madeline's van is observed in the driveway of her Winona residence. As part of their investigation, law enforcement officers traveled the route Fravel traveled or stated he drove on the morning of March 31st, 2023. Investigators noted that with the exception of the 45-minute time period between the time he was observed traveling south on Rushford on Highway 43 and later at the same location traveling northbound on Highway 43, the times are consistent with normal expected travel times between locations. On June 7th, a deputy with the Fillmore County Sheriff's Office was searching a rural area in Fillmore County next to a public gravel road approximately 1 mile from Highway 43 between Choice and Mabel. Investigating officers learned that this property had been routinely maintained by one or more Fravel family members. This property was also near the residence of Fravel's parents. He really discarded his the mother of his children's body in the area near his parents' residence. What? Let's continue. Because I'm reading this for the first time too, y'all. Okay. While searching the property, the deputy located human remains in a culvert adjoining the gravel road. The remains had been wrapped in what appeared to be a gray fitted bed sheet and that had been closed with black Gorilla tape. Investigators noted that during a previous search at their residence, at their Winona residence, they observed a roll of black Gorilla tape that appeared to be the same color and width as the tape found on the fitted sheet that Madeline was wrapped in. Investigators also noted that the gray fitted sheet appears to be similar to the other bedding at the Winona residence. Additionally, the air mattress from the Winona residence was missing a fitted sheet. A top air mattress without a fitted sheet, or on top of the air mattress without a fitted sheet, were pillows that had gray pillow cases. He didn't even, this guy. Human remains were transferred to the Southern Minnesota Regional Medical Examiner's Office in Rochester, Minnesota. The medical examiner's office identified the human remains as Madeline Jane Kingsbury from dental records and tattoos. The medical examiner noted that a knotted towel had been wrapped around Madeline's head and neck. The medical examiner's office performed an autopsy. A preliminary autopsy report determined the manner and cause of her demise as homicide and homicidal violence. So as we hear and we get all this information, because that's basically all she wrote right there. I mean, as I look at these other pieces of information, I mean, that's literally it. And thank you, Avery, for sending this to me. I really do appreciate that, because it does help when it comes to this whole shebang. But as you can see, guys, reading through all of that information, this guy was guilty from day one. There was guilt on him from day one. And thank God for ring cameras, security cameras, whatever. I know sometimes it's a nuisance, but when it comes to things like this, when you see the person doing the bad thing, doing ill will, technology is a mother lover, y'all. Let me tell you that. Okay? Sometimes it sucks, but man, does it really come in handy when you really need it. And I'm telling you right now, this guy is only getting second degree M. M in the second degree, that doesn't make any sense. I can see crime of passion, but he went all the way out of his way to do all this extra stuff so that he could discard and hide these remains. But what's even more messed up is when we hear where he actually discarded her body, in an area near his own family's residence. That's insane, y'all. That's absolutely insane. And for me, I'm sorry, I'm still not feeling. I'm really not feeling this whole second degree M. I'm not feeling it, y'all. And for them to sit there and go, oh no, it wasn't intentional. We don't know if it was intentional or if it was unintentional. There was something wrapped around her. And I'm not talking about the bed sheet that was wrapped around her body. I'm talking about what was wrapped around her dome. This person did a very, very unthinkable thing and took the life of a mother, took the life of these two kids' mother. Period. This should be murder in the first. I said it. And for them to sit there and try to find something for him, I don't know why. I really don't get it. I really don't get it. Because it could be intentional, but it could be unintentional. This man had full intent on taking this mother of two's life. He did not want her on this planet, period. Now, of course, we got to play the other side of the fence. Let's keep it real. There could be a mistake. There could have been a fight, like it always has been, and he did something that took her life, that he was too violent in one particular moment. That could have happened, but still, it's first degree in my personal opinion. I don't care how many ways you smack it up, flip it, and rub it down. Sorry. No matter how many ways you polish it, it's still going to be a piece of ish. So when it comes to this, guys, I'm telling you right now, they better upgrade his charge very soon as they get more information. But the probable cause, the affidavit here is enough for us to see why he should be getting first. He went out of his way to cover his tracks. He knew what he was doing. This is sad, y'all. This is very, very sad. But that is the show for right now. I appreciate you guys for being here. Thank you guys so much for sending me the PCA. Okay. It really means a lot. Okay. I am keeping an eye out on the Brian Koberger gag order stuff. Apparently there's going to be that going on here soon, or in the next couple of hours or so, or in the next hour or so. So I will be letting you guys know about that very, very soon. So you'll be probably seeing me back on within about an hour or so. So just be on the lookout for that, because I think I am going to be having Andrea Burkhart join me in giving us a breakdown of all the information that happened inside the courtroom out in Idaho for this gag order. And I know a lot of people are going, is there a gag order or not? Right? Are we gonna have cameras in the courtroom or not? We should be finding that out tonight or today within the next few hours. So be on the lookout for it. You'll be hearing from me very, very soon. Okay. And again, I gotta say this again, guys, before we head out. Please do me a favor. Join my Patreon. Go on, join my Patreon. Okay. You'll thank me later. We got some really great stuff over there. I'm also sharing some really cool stuff over there. So go join the Patreon or just become a member here by all means. It's the same goodness over here as well. Real quick, let me just do this really quick. Tamster, thank you so much for the $1 super sticker. April Howard, thank you so much for the 5. Thank you for all that you do, Pascal. This guy's awful. Yeah, he's every single word. He's the every description of what awful is. Okay. He is awful. Okay. And Danielle, thank you so much for the 10. I pray he gets life in prison. Also, just want to give you praise, Pascal, for helping the voiceless and getting these stories out. I love how you're getting interviews as well. Thank you. Keep up the great work. Your channel is the best. Thank you so much. You know, and I will say this really, really quick. Let me just turn this down a little bit. The hardest part is getting the interviews. The interviews are very hard because you're just shooting from the hip. You're just sending out emails. You're doing it's a lot of research. It's a lot of investigative work. It's a lot of, sometimes it's through a friend of a friend of a friend of a friend. You know, it's that 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon type of thing. It can be really tough out here trying to do the work. But I do love it. And of course, I love it when we get a good conversation, you know, and get to bring some real conversations forward other than just talking about the news. I want to give you guys some more authentic stuff. And that's what I mean. Like, as we start to march towards more things, as we start to march towards 100,000 subscribers, as we start to tackle these new goals, there's going to be new additions added as we grow. So just be ready for it. Okay. Because I got some really great stuff coming up for you guys over the next couple weeks. Okay. And I'll explain all of that very, very soon. Okay. But anyway, guys, I appreciate all y'all for being here. Hit that like button down below, crush it, make a scream out your name. That would really, really mean a lot. Hit that subscribe button. And of course, also hit that notification bell so you know when I go live. Set it to all so that you know when I go live. Because like I said, I got some content coming. And some of it's going to be pop-ups. Some of it's going to be shorts. And some of it is going to be live. So get ready. The work is coming. The content is coming. And please join my Patreon. Please. And thank you. And I will be creating a new tier over there as well. Something that's just very, very simple, but helps support this channel as well. So be on the lookout for that on my Patreon. Okay. Anyway, guys, it is time to get going. Be good to yourselves. Be good to one another. And I will see you guys in the next show, which is probably in the next hour or so. So I'll see you guys in a minute. This is the Pascal Show. Bye.